Thumbs up. Oh, my thumb is cut.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killin', pre-cold villains on the mic, got you reelin'. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos, by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to another Harry Larry episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name's Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 492, recorded on Monday, September 2nd, 2024. Tonight, we're talking about another Patreon pick. This was chosen by your boy Nate S. The movie is We Are Still Here from 2015. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy, Randeezy. What's up?
Randy!
What's going on, buddy? We doing good? We ready to talk about some fiery vestiges of the past here
Yes, sir, I am.
today? No beating around the bush with that description. I think
I
I'm
know.
pretty much on fingers on the pulse.
I know.
I-
There's another colloquialism? I don't know. Mikey refers to this movie as something, but I can't say it yet because it's kind of a spoiler. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Last but not
Oh
least,
dear.
calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy. Get used to it, Stains, because I'm still here, baby. Let's do
We-
it. Can't get rid of this stain.
You're like dog shit on my shoe. I just
Just stick around.
can't get rid of you.
Damn.
Damn. That's
With
some
love.
friendship right there.
I mean that with
Oh yeah,
love.
that's
In respect.
That's the kind of
Everyone
things you can
loves
only
dog
say
shit
to your
on their
friends.
shit. Especially Scatman Bob. That's like
I
a real
Yeah,
treat
love
for
it,
as we
him.
know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh
that's
yeah.
the stuff. Oh yeah. It's best when I don't know.
God has
For a
smiled
podcast?
upon me. I love and respect dog shit. Don't forget it.
Oh yeah.
Great. Great.
Fantastic. Yeah, big thanks to Nate for picking this week's flick. But before we get into the review, let's tackle some housekeeping. We got a few things to get through here. So it's a brand new month. Summer's over. It's officially September. Some would call it
Whoa.
spooky season.
If you know,
Pumpkins.
then get out.
Get out.
I had to pull some like heavy duty weight in order to get an agreement to begin putting up Halloween decorations. in this home.
Really? Someone
So-
put up a fight over it's September.
I know that was their argument too. Weirdly,
The same argument.
like I was like, it's
Come
September.
on,
I was
they're not new.
Yeah,
Well,
I know.
What are they thinking?
I don't know. I don't know. We tried
What?
anyway. Things are progressing. I'll say
Okay.
that.
Good for you, Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. Well, that does mean our September poll has closed. And there was a bit of an upset, actually, boys.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Popcorn won.
Was it behind?
It was
Uh,
behind the whole month. Yeah,
Oh, really?
close, but behind. Yeah,
Oh.
the
Was
Final
this-
Girls was in
it-
first place.
Was there a push on
That's right.
Slack or something?
I don't think so.
I
Not that I
wasn't
didn't see
paying
one. I
attention.
saw.
I didn't see
It's
one
just an
either.
organic, actual
Yeah.
turnabout.
From behind.
Wow.
Was it close?
Very, yeah. So
Oh, okay.
popcorn,
Yeah.
popcorn with 47% won it. Final Girls with
Wow.
41% was in second place. Matinee with 12%.
Bullshit luck. Bullshit luck.
All right, an upset. Well, there you go. We're watching
Ooh.
popcorn.
I'm
Well,
upset.
I'm happy about that
I
turn of
am
events.
furious. I was really invested in that poll.
This is
Yeah.
the one that I'd never actually like. I did not prepare this graphic in advance. There's no graphics issues, and I actually was excited to watch this movie a little more. So it's
Oh,
great.
there you
It's
go.
great,
It
great
was-
pull, people.
It was like the one that you chose, right, Randy? Popcorn.
I believe so. I can't remember what
think
the
so.
third one was at this point. So
Yeah. Well, matinee was mine, and that nobody gave
Matinee,
a
that's
fuck.
right, yeah.
Mm.
I can't believe somebody
I
like
literally picked Final Girls off of a list I saw. I'd never seen it before. I was
Professional.
not invested.
aside from the John Goodman slander that went on in this poll, sounds like a pretty successful event.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, check out Popcorn. We'll be talking about that in probably 2 or 3 weeks. That does mean, however, we have another poll currently posted on our Patreon website. It is
Oh,
our
shit.
October poll,
This is the one, people. This is the one.
the biggin.
It's the one that
if-
really matters.
If you're
Mhm.
unfamiliar, every October we post, instead of just picking from 3 movies, we have 3 triple features that you're picking between. In the past couple years, what we've done is we don't release the titles of the films. You're picking on just theme alone for the triple features. So
That's right.
Whoa.
the 3 themes you're voting on this year are Lost and Found, Thrill Me, and Ghastly Ghouls.
Whoa,
boy.
Bob. First week of September. What
Yeah.
are the numbers looking like?
What them numbers
What is on them numbers are they doing?
do. They
What
They
numbers
number.
are
I'm
good?
speaking the
What do-
good.
The more
Hey, Bob, what
Korean
do
you
numbers?
I'm speaking
more
the
English you
good, real good.
Nay.
Lost and Found is currently in first place with 47% of the vote.
Whoa.
Thrill
Really?
Me, second place with 33%, and Ghastly Ghouls in third place with 20%.
That's a large percent for first
What's
place.
the
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. What's the number of voters so far?
I think it was about a dozen, so there's still plenty of
Okay.
votes left to get in. So it's still anybody's game, really.
I wondered if it was just a byproduct of it being like, only 6 votes or something, but no. I guess
Yeah.
not.
No.
Yeah, we're only like 2 days into the month. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of time and plenty of votes left. But yeah, get your votes in, and we'll see what 3 movies we're talking about this October. In other Patreon news, we're dropping mini casts every other Friday per usual. Just dropped one last Friday on Humane. That is available for your ears now. Next up, Friday, September 13th, we're going to be dropping a mini cast on Twisters. And that was another one by your boy talking about the 30-year after the fact sequel to Twister, the absolute classic disaster movie Twister.
Dude, yeah, we were supposed to cover this year. Something happened.
Something. I truly don't know what. But
Yeah,
something.
there seems to be something of an implication there. So.
Yeah, sorry? I don't know.
You dirty bitch!
So yeah, check that out. Dropping on Friday, September 13th. I got a Friday the 13th right around the corner, boys. Ooh, very
Whoa.
auspicious.
Oh, whoa, hey.
Hey,
Everybody, yeah,
whoa,
they're really
whoa.
good luck.
Yeah.
And we're dropping Twisters.
Twister.
The horror classic.
The
Just like we
seminal
planned.
horror film featuring iconic characters.
That you and we all know and love so well.
Like the character Bill Paxton and the character Helen Hunt.
And the finger of God. God is just fingering you.
Ooh.
Orgy.
God damn. That's
I like
out of
that.
control.
Right.
I like that.
Whew.
Trying to confuse me with your liberal biblicisms.
That's a liberal
Oh,
biblicism
dude.
right there.
That is a liberal biblicism.
That's a rough
Playing it
joke.
real loose.
It's a rough joke right there. Also, just a big thanks for everybody that hung out for this past Friday with Joe Bob, wrapping up season 6 with his 6-movie marathon. We only hung out for the first one because, let's be real, we're in our 30s.
Some of us.
But it was a solid squad, and he's kicked things off with Slumber Party Massacre, which, is kind of perfect for Joe Bob, sleazy slasher from the 80s. And I forget the rest of the lineup off the top of my dome, but it was all like really solid stuff. When Evil Lurks was the second one.
Okay.
I haven't watched past Slumber Party Massacre yet.
Disco kicked the motherfucker's ass all over Dreamland.
Hell
Right,
yeah.
Bob.
Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell, I think, was number 3.
I don't know what that is.
I don't think that's quite right, but maybe.
I think it is. No, it's
Is it? Okay.
something very
'Cause
similar.
I thought it
to
was
that,
one of
yeah.
those out there Halloween mixtape, WN, whatever
a-
type situations.
It's like an 80s movie from Japan that's like loosely modeled after Evil Dead. So it's like kind of a knockoff of Evil Dead.
Huh.
Well, that
Anyway.
sounds fucking incredible, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's on Shudder. Randy, you can check it out.
There you go, Randy.
Yeah, that's gonna
That's
wrap
fine.
it for Joe Bob season 6. I'm sure I'll be back with a Halloween marathon of some sort, but that has yet to be revealed. So maybe we'll do a watch party for that. I got just a couple other things since we are getting pretty close to our episode 500. We're going to be soliciting some voicemails from you guys. If you want to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on episode 500, you got to get those in before the end of the month, September 28th. If you would like to be featured on episode 500, get those in. And yeah, if you want, make mention of episode 500 in the voicemail, or just shoot me a DM or something, and I'll make sure that we hold on to it until we record that.
Okay.
There you go.
Cool.
All right.
Finally, since it is spooky season, we got to talk about our 4th annual Chilloween party, boys.
Whoa.
Oh,
Purely
shit.
and simply evil.
Evil. 4th annual. We've got all these traditions
I know.
that we just keep doing.
We love to play Jenga with traditions to see what the fuck falls over eventually. Eventually,
We
we're all
just
going to
keep-
collapse under the weight.
We add the bricks. It just gets more and more sturdy. It never falls down.
Oh yeah, that's our
That's-
secret.
Oh, yeah. It
That's-
never falls down.
The
Famously,
more you
Jenga
add,
blocks
the
never
more
fall
stable
down.
it is.
I know games, Randy. Okay. Yeah, our 4th annual Chilloween party. So if you guys are unfamiliar with this is something that we do for anybody that supports us on Patreon at any level. It is a virtual Halloween party in which we all get together and we play some horror trivia, and we screen a top secret Halloween movie, and just kind of hang out and watch it and crack jokes while it's playing. We also do a Halloween a costume contest. So if you don't have to, but if you would like to, we encourage you to dress up, and then we'll vote on who has the dopest costume. And we send prizes out for that, and we also send prizes out for whoever wins trivia. And it's a good time, honestly. Last year was like really great.
It was. It was a lot
yeah.
of fun.
The other one's garbage, but last year
They were all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
The other ones were shit.
Oh,
Last year was a lot of fun though. We did we watched Halloween 3 last year, Night of the Demons before that, and Halloween 2018 before
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
the Bon Me edition.
The Bon Me, yeah. So mark your calendars. That's going to be happening Friday, October 18th at 9 p.m. Eastern. And like I said, that's open for anybody that supports us on Patreon at any level.
Hell
Join
yeah.
us. Yeah.
It was a marriage to the beast.
Boys, that's finally all I got. You have anything you would like to plug?
I do.
Oof.
Speaking of plug,
it.
it's
Plug me up.
It is Plug It Up. I was featured on the latest episode of Plug It Up, where me and Caitlin were talking about the horror classic Queen of the Damned, featuring your boy Jonathan Davis on the vocals.
Johnny D on the vote.
Your boy Johnny D. on the-
me?
Your boy Randy, big corn guy. I know.
Oh yeah,
big new
Wah,
metal
ah,
guy
ah,
in
as I
general
always
that I
say.
know. Oh, wow. Yes, that is exactly correct.
It's
That
at
is
times like this, a little ditty starts
100%
running through my head. It goes a little something like this. Wah, ah, ah, ah. Yeah.
That is definitely corn. Your favorite
Take me
band.
to the Matthews Bridge.
That is also definitely corn. So yeah, check that out wherever you catch your pods.
Ooh.
I think that's all my housekeeping.
Yeah, and
Nice.
I ain't got shit over here, Bob. You about set? What do you
Yeah,
think?
we're squeaky clean, man.
All right. Well, in that case.
This house is clean.
All right, let's get into the main event. We're talking We Are Still Here, and we're kicking it off for the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, I saw you had this box.
Yeah, I got this on Blu-ray 10 years ago when it came out. Long time. This is put out by
Oh,
Dark
okay.
Sky Films. And Randy and I actually, we had the pleasure of meeting Ted Geoghegan, I think 2 consecutive years actually at the Overlook Film Festival. Not this past spring,
Yeah.
but the 2
He
spring
broke
before
our
that.
hearts this year. So
Yeah, we missed him. But actually, Randy, I didn't have the nuts to ask, but Randy sort of broke the ice, and I was eventually worked up the courage, and Ted signed my little Blu-ray right here.
Oh, nice.
I don't even
Yeah.
remember doing that. To be
Yeah.
honest with you. So.
I was like,
I'm
that's
so glad that
Ted. And
I'm
Randy's
so
like,
glad
oh,
you
hey, what's
remembered
up,
my
Ted?
nuts, though.
I
remember
don't give a
those
shit
nuts.
about you. I can talk to you easily.
Oh, yeah, that's totally right.
We're just normal men.
It was Timmy, was it? Tim? Yeah. Hey, man.
Listen here, Tom. I think we've
Whatever.
got something special here with this movie. I'm still over there.
I'm still over.
Something real special with this movie that came out a decade ago. I think you're going places. I'm still way over there, bro. Yeah, anyway, I got the box. You can buy this like anywhere. It's really easy to find. You can also stream it. We Are Still Here from 2015. It's not rated, which I'm just now realizing, apparently. Runtime of 1 hour and 24 minutes. I think it's safe to say this is at least an hour, though. It's a lot of blood. A lot of blood.
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah, I would say so.
Written and directed by your boy Ted Geoghegan. This stars Andrew Cincinnig, Barbara Crampton, Larry Fessenden, Lisa Marie, a couple other folks. A pretty small cast, actually, in this movie. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. In the cold, wintry fields of New England, a lonely old house wakes up every 30 years and demands a sacrifice.
Oh boy.
Gentlemen,
boy.
have you seen this
Oh.
movie before? And would you recommend folks check it out? Randeezy, kick us off.
Yeah, this is a first time watch for me. I think last episode, it may be one that's actually for the future. I don't know. I think it was last episode that you guys have heard. Justin and I both revealed that neither of us had seen this film. But I was aware of it for a long time, even before meeting Ted. I like this movie was kind of inescapably on streaming on like so many streaming platforms for a while. It seemed like I just kept seeing this cover and never made the leap. So I was excited to check it out, especially after having met Ted and also, more importantly, having seen Brooklyn 45, which was one of my favorite movies of last year. I was really excited to see this. I would lightly recommend this movie. I think we're gonna have a lot to say about it probably, but I don't think that it lived up to the hype that I had built up from having so much love for Brooklyn 45. That set aside, though, I think that horror fans are going to find this to be a pretty nice, basic campfire tale with some fun effects and shit like that. That's my overall read on it.
Right on. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, I would give general recommend. It's funny because since spooky season broke, one of the things I did was going back and listening to our Simpsons episodes where we covered Treehouse, and the very first one is a segment called Bad Dream House, and this was kind of making me think of it because I feel like we have a lot of haunting movies these days, but I feel like the general vibe of having the focus be on the house, the haunted house with the lore. I feel like there's like with an Insidious, like it's more focused on the ghost that we can have a look and you can build a franchise out of it or so. I feel like that's kind of the vibe these days, or an Annabelle where it's an item, or I don't know, the haunting is more like, I don't know, marketable, I guess, instead of just a house. So it was kind of
Haunting is
on your
real
hauntings.
marketable.
yeah, so I just it was kind of nice to have just a haunted house type of film. So I think this is a bit of like a bit of a like hidden gem as far as like if you're looking for a new kind of like just pure haunted house type of horror film. So yeah, a loose recommend. General recommend.
Bobby,
Bob,
bring
Yo,
would
us
you
home.
recommend people watch this movie?
I would give this a tight recommend,
A
not a
tight.
loose.
Ooh,
Okay.
Nice and
oh,
tight.
keeping it tight.
Tight. Yeah, this was on my top 10 list of 2015.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
Were we
like
doing lists back then?
I was. I don't know.
Oh.
I can't remember if we
I
actually
delete
like
those
did a
memory banks, so.
show
It
with
would
like
have
a
been like
rundown.
within our first year, so that doesn't
Yeah,
sound right.
probably not, but I just
No.
had one, I guess.
Okay.
Um,
In your
so
diary.
yeah, in
I
my
got
it's on my
Dear Diary.
letterbox.
Here's my
These
top
are my
10.
top 10 of 2015.
Don't tell anyone, okay?
On your
Wink.
live journal blog post.
Dear Necronomicon, it's your boy Bob.
Dear FetLife community, here are my. I'm sorry.
I don't even know what that is, man.
Yes, you
Doubt
do.
it.
Anyway,
Anyway, yeah, I recommend this one. I like this movie quite a bit, and yeah, it's a haunted house movie, but it does take a lot of inspiration from Italian horror movies, specifically Lucio Fulci's The House by the Cemetery. This takes a lot from that. So if you're into that kind of vibe, I think you'll really get something out of this. So yeah, it's a recommend from you, boy Bob. Seems like, I don't know, maybe a loose recommend overall from the three of us.
I
Sure.
think it's a reasonably tight recommend overall.
Reasonably tight.
Mhm.
Gotcha. So check out. We are still here.
Medium
We're
to
gonna be-
loose.
We're gonna be sure
The way Bob likes his jeans.
in my
Yes,
state.
his jeans.
We're gonna be spoiling the shit out
What was
of
that
this
website
movie.
again? Feetlife.com.
Feetislife.gov. Check it out.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna be spoiling the shit out of this movie. Here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
That's Bob's handle on FetLife. Medium to loose.
Medium to loose.
Feet.
My boy,
Feet.
medium to loose.
Extra medium.
Bob, you got that plot synopsis.
Like a relaxed fit, gentlemen.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tapered, please.
I got the plot synopsis right here for you. In 1979, Anne and Paul Sacchetti move into an old house in rural New England following the death of their son Bobby in a car accident. Shortly after their arrival, Anne claims to feel the presence of her son in the house. Their neighbors Dave and Kat McCabe stop by and introduce themselves. They explain the old house was first inhabited by the Dagmar family, who operated a funeral parlor out of it. The town ran them off once they discovered Old Man Dagmar was selling bodies to a nearby university for research and just burying empty caskets. As the McCabes leave, Kat passes them a note saying they need to get out of the house. The Sacchettis have no intention of leaving, and Anne invites her friends May and Jacob Lewis to come visit. They are spiritualists, and Anne thinks May might be able to contact the spirit of their son. The two
Well,
couples...
of course, here come the demons.
They always come. The two couples go out to dinner. While they're gone, the Lewis's son Harry and his girlfriend arrive at the house. They let themselves in, they have a drink. Harry ends up being killed in the basement by a ghost, and his girlfriend drives off, only to be killed in the car by a ghost. After the restaurant closes for the night, we see Dave arrive and murder a waitress. He then has an angry conversation with the bartender about the old Dagmar house, revealing it needs to feed every 30 years, or else the evil beneath it will consume the town. The next day, Anne and May go shopping, and while they're out, Jacob convinces Paul to do a seance with him. Instead of contacting Bobby, Jacob is possessed by Old Man Dagmar, who reveals the town didn't run his family off, but instead sacrificed them to the evil they discovered under the house. He then stabs Jacob in the eye with a fire poker, killing him. The women return home to find the chaos, and as May tries to leave the house, she is shot and killed by Dave. The townsfolk descend upon the house, and the ghosts come up from the basement. The ghosts murder all the townsfolk, leaving only Dave, Anne, and Paul. Dave tries to kill Paul, but Anne is brutally murdered by Old Man Dagmar. The house is now satiated, and the ghosts disappear. Anne walks down into the basement, and Paul follows after her. As Paul looks down the stairs, he smiles and says, "Hey, Bobby." We then get a mid-credit shot with
Bobby.
the living room all cleaned up, and a single key on the piano rings out. Roll the rest of the credits. There you go.
Yeah, that's a pretty
All right.
uneventful mid-credit sequence, I would say. As far as
Yeah.
they come.
Yeah.
But
The ghosts
yeah.
are still there, boys. Did you, when you were watching this movie, did you guys feel any of that like Italian horror influence?
Yes, and I hated it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't pick
It's
up on
not
it at
your
all.
not your thing, I know. Yeah.
No, it's not really. I would say I don't know. Just like I think if I had to guess, like kind of the things, I guess the things that bothered me the most about this film, not to just like jump right into the negatives, but Bob posed the question, so I'll bring it up. Was like a lot of
Flaming
like
Bob.
the stiff kind of acting that feels like purposeful sometimes. Sometimes I feel like there's just some not some great acting or lines delivered in this, but sometimes I feel like it's constructed in a way to kind of reflect that type of influence, but also like some of the logic too. I don't know, Italian films, and I don't think I've seen the one that Bob was referencing because I don't think we've covered it, but I don't know. They play fast and loose with like logic sometime, and like things just kind of happen. And so I felt like I could feel that kind of in this movie, like leaps in logic or things that like didn't really kind of like match up very well, and then just kind of some stiff acting with some of the stuff that bothered me, and I could kind of feel some of the influence.
You know, I saw maybe a little bit of stiff acting, but I honestly was pretty impressed overall with the acting like that was going on. Like I think that Barbara's performance for one thing was like pretty good in her overall oeuvre. I think that she was really bringing something to it. Like she was kind of broken in half for the most of this movie.
Whoa, Randy.
I really enjoyed the husband character. Like I don't know, something about the aesthetics of the time period really made it work for me. Like I think that like there's something about it that seems like maybe chintzy in an authentic way, maybe because I'm used to experiencing the 70s and the 60s or what is the 70s, right?
70s,
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of it. It is
79. Yeah.
70s, right?
You're used
So
to
like 70s, 80s.
experiencing the 70s?
I know I'm used. No, I cut myself off midway. I'm used to experiencing that through movies, and
Oh,
so
okay.
like, and not always very good movies where people are like acting totally or like realistically. But I also wasn't necessarily looking for hyper realism on that. It just, I don't know. I felt like the anguish of the two lead characters, the other actors like the Fessendens and other folks that were coming in, they were coming in a little hot and a little bit of like
Really?
loosey goosey with their acting a little bit more. I would say. I think it was not to its detriment necessarily. I still enjoyed that, but I think that the two main like the Sachettis or whatever, I like them a lot. I thought that those performances were pretty good, but I do agree that like some of the plot points and things like that, and some of the motivations they're giving them, seemed to like turn on a dime sometimes, or otherwise just sort of like gradually and kind of off screen move to another spot. You know what I mean? The positioning of where these
Yeah.
characters are coming from seems to shift a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how to, I don't know. We can get into that more in a minute.
I do want to mention briefly that this is the movie that sort of brought Barbara Crampton back to horror,
Mm.
which I think we owe a bit of gratitude for just that alone, I think, to this movie. But I do think she does a great job here. And I think this is like kind of a meatier role for Larry Fessenden too, similar to in Brooklyn 45. He usually is more of a bit character, at least in like more modern movies anyway. I think he does a really good job here. When he gets possessed specifically, I thought it was like creepy, like genuinely creepy. The way he's like slowly, you can see like his speech patterns sort of like trail off and his words start getting like really dark. I thought all that was done really well. There are some moments I think that are a bit stiff, but I think as soon as the neighbors come over and they do the whole like this house has a history kind of monologue, I was like, now I know exactly what kind of movie I'm in, and like that like the bits of like stiffness and maybe cheesiness, I was like, oh, that's like kind of built into a story like this, I think. And they're
Yeah.
going for a a vibe, a very specific vibe, and I think they mostly nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like to me it hit as like a campfire tale sort of thing. I didn't really think about the Europeanness of it, but like I felt it more the way that I felt like Dead and Buried. We reviewed that earlier this year, and like it had that sort of like like kind of rubbing up against chintziness, but still like playing it straight and doing. I think that movie had like a little bit more going for it in terms of like set pieces and things like that, and like a little bit more meat to the bone of what was going on like under the surface. I think this, that's where I kind of feel like this one let me down a little bit, just a little bit, because like Brooklyn 45 had so much going on under the hood, and I was just kind of hoping for more of that. So I think that like Gigan definitely like he improved by leaps and bounds between these two movies in my opinion. But that said, like I still like there's still a lot of like um I got a lot of feeling of like this is the same feeling I would get from like literally telling campfire tales or watching Are You Afraid of the Dark or something like that, where it's just like it's a certain mode. It's almost like music video mode where it's like some of the rough edges don't tend to matter as much because it's about like the feeling in the moment. And for the most part, those feelings were pretty well directed, pretty simple and easy to pull me along. But some of the connective tissue was a little rough, like we talked about. But I really enjoyed it. I think that it put me in a very accepting mode of what this movie was and what it's not, which is it's not really, to my mind anyway, it doesn't feel like a big thinky thing. Like it doesn't feel like a huge conceit. It really is like some morning people walk into this bad situation where this town is sacrificing people regularly and with abandon and very viciously, until finally the ghosts there that they actually take pity on the people that are living there because of their anguish, because they have had their daughter like murdered or taken from them as well. Like that's the thick of it for me as far as emotional stuff goes. The rest of it is just like spooky happenings, and I enjoyed that stuff. So
Yeah, I'm actually gonna agree with Bob on here. What a surprise! Where I thought, so the best acting to me came from Larry, and then I want to spin that into another positive as well. But also too, before I do that, so Larry and the guy who played Dave, who like delivers the kind of story when they come in, it's one of my favorite scenes. Actually, I think two of my favorite scenes are when they first deliver the story about, and they're drinking scotch together in the living room, and then when Larry's character gets possessed. I think those are my two favorite. And I agree with the idea of the campfire tale, and that's why I was really digging that scene. And then again, what Larry was doing and some of the choices that were made. So spinning off into another positive, I preferred definitely the choices that were more subtle and played out into the vibe. So even when this movie opens, I was like really excited for the first 20 minutes of this film. I was really intrigued and really excited about this whole setup, because even before the opening, title drops, the way the thing slams down the picture frame, and I was like, I already knew, like, before they have to start delivering this dialogue and in my opinion kind of spoon feeding some things to you, I immediately knew this is a family that's lost their kid. They're going to come in. The mom thinks that the kid is the ghost. It's not the kid that's the ghost. And I was like, this is great. I was really digging the vibes that set this up when the title dropped. And then even Larry doing that thing where, he starts delivering these weird lines, but they're mixed in with normal lines. And the guy had, like to strip the flesh off their bones. And the guy opens his eyes. He's like, "Why?" And he delivers some regular lines. And then he's like, "And it's rotting." Where it's like, this is great. This is the kind of stuff that needs to be featured more, because one of the biggest, like, kind of negatives for me too was these creatures don't look particularly good, and they're right up in your face a lot. They're just there, the burnt creatures from the basement or whatever. And I didn't like that. I like these more subtle moments that built a vibe, instead of these kind of, in my opinion, kind of some cheap jump scares, like when it toward the beginning, where it shows the reflection of one of those creatures in the picture frame, and it does a stinger, and then when it's just running at the electrician and like grabbing people, I didn't like the way that those looked. But then when he starts exploding people into blood at the end when they get sucked under a table and the blood spurts out. You're not seeing it, but it's all very implied. And then like these other moments where Larry's just dropping these weird lines and stuff. That to me was the really good stuff of like working with what you got, working with the smaller budget, being very clever with it. The monsters in this didn't look good to me, and I didn't like how they were like all up in your face all the time. I thought that was a mistake.
I
Yeah,
like them.
Go ahead, Bob.
Really?
Honestly,
Yeah, I kind of like them too. Yeah, I don't think they look bad really at all. I
there's-
think maybe a little overexposed. I could hear that argument. But
Yeah, there's like maybe a few moments where it looks a little janky, or you can see like the CG smoothing over or whatever. But I think for Ghost, like what I alluded to at the beginning, like Mikey from Let's Get Physical Media, he calls this movie the killer ass ghost movie because these ghosts are just fucking ripping people apart, and you don't really see that happen in like haunted house movies usually. But that is like kind of a thing in like these Lucio Fulci movies. Usually they're more zombies, but like these are intended to be ghosts because they like just
Mhm.
vanish and but they are ripping people apart. And I thought that was an interesting choice to make because it's not something that we get a lot of.
Yeah.
And mostly I think the effects are good. Like there's like some gruesome, like, get the girl getting punched through the chest in the car, the eyes getting gouged out from the boyfriend, the explosion under the table, the dude that gets like pulled down into like the burning
Dude, that was
staircase.
cool. I
Yeah,
like
that was cool, too.
I
The
really
fi-
like
yeah, the
that.
entire town getting like ripped apart was like
Yeah.
a
That
really
was great.
chaotic scene.
It
Like,
really
I really love
was.
that. But like I think like shooting the like the girl getting killed in the car, that was one of the best because that's the moment where you realize, oh, these things aren't necessarily tied to the house. They can travel short distances at least. And I was like, okay, well, we're in a whole new world here. This is not like, a Hill House situation where they stop. There's very clear borders that they cannot cross or anything like that, or at least not that we ever see. And so that kind of opens up some possibilities. So yeah, I like that they're so violent as well. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's also like it becomes kind of cathartic to see them do what they ultimately do once we kind of find out what their motivation is. I would say that my argument against one of my bigger complaints, I think, is that car scene and really everything to do with the roommate and his girlfriend, the whatever. I don't think it's necessary. I think it kind of like
Red
narratively,
shirts.
it's not necessary.
Yeah.
They are red shirts, and like those kills, at least her kill is very, very good, I think.
Like, why would they
But-
be there? Really,
They were that was
Yeah,
some of
but
the
all-
worst acting to me too. Her when they were
I-
talking in the
Yeah.
car, I was like, "Oh no, this is not
I
so
kind
good."
of agree. That was the roughest.
that was the stiffest for me too.
Yeah.
But like I think the thing about it is like not only that is it like just kind of shoved in there a little bit, but it also kind of undermines the position of the whatever what's the name, the Dagmar family or whatever, because in the end it seems like, at least my read of it, was that they showed mercy on this grieving parental couple who were also targeted by the town. But Larry Fessenden and Lisa Marie, they lose they have their kid taken from them by the same group that is now showing, like, I don't know, it seems counter to what we're supposed to know about these ghosts. We're supposed to think, oh, they're evil, they're ripping people apart for no reason, but it's because they're filled with rage because their whole family was annihilated by this
Yeah.
town and by this curse, and it's a chip on their shoulder towards everybody basically. But when they see families, they have a soft spot or whatever it may be. But I guess that's not narratively true because this house needs a family after all. And it just, I don't know. I guess it makes it harder for me to buy that these ghosts are suddenly sympathetic towards the residents of the house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
th-
weird shift. Also, too, the logic of I don't maybe I'm just not getting it. But the logic of the townspeople, like, first of all, why did that dude just blast the waitress?
I have a
because she
lot of questions
was
about that.
because she was new, and I guess when she opened the door and saw his face, he didn't want anybody to know that he was like coming in late to have this fucked up conversation. It's a little loose, but I guess she was new to the town and she wasn't in on the fucked upness.
But also,
Well,
too, okay, they said this happened back in like the 1869 or something when the Dagmar house was built.
69.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
So but a lot. So the people who are keeping this going are not the original people. So there's a lore to this house, and I did like that because I did like the idea of the town haunted house that everybody acknowledges, and when they walk into the bar and everybody's quiet, I love that aspect of it. But if that's the case, and they have to drop the line of, oh, it happens every 30 years, which was chintzy to me. I didn't really care for that part of the lore, but so 30 years, okay, everybody that's running into this house has at least experienced it then. And the house has the vengeance against the town, but it can travel outside the town because we see, or it can travel outside the house because it gets in the car, and it's very happy to completely destroy these townspeople, which is ultimately its motivation. Like, fuck you, town, you killed my family. But actually, these people from the town didn't kill your family, so it's not really them, but they have been perpetuating this thing where a family is sacrificed to the house, so the ghosts do kill families, but then also it's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you over, town, but they're just rushing into this house all willy-nilly, like they think they're safe. It's very loose.
Well, so it seems like, based on what Dagmar says in the bar scene, I believe it is, if they don't have a family sacrificed in the house every 30 years, eventually it'll bleed out into the town and kill them all. And it apparently has happened once before.
Yeah.
So they're upset that the ghosts have waited so long to kill the family that's there. I don't know that it's necessarily because they take pity on the family. It's because they want to kill the fucking townspeople because they're the ones that fucked them over. So they're waiting for that evil to spill out into the town, I guess. How that happens, I don't know. They don't really get into it. But I
They
guess when the town's
waited 100 years to
I don't
make
know.
to
Yeah,
do this
to
ploy.
connect the dots, I
But
guess.
this
I
is
don't
the
know.
thing. Like if you really want to dig into it, it's like they were killed to satiate something else. Like there's a portal to hell
Yeah.
in their basement
Yeah,
that they are
yeah.
that's the actually what the curse is. They just their anger at being sacrificed against their will by the town, and like being forced into that situation. That is what keeps them around as ghosts, and they start to pick up the slack, is what whatever McCabe says, more something along those lines, where it's like, yeah, well, things got a lot easier when you guys started taking care of it for us, but why are you taking
Yeah.
so long? And it's like, I think it's because they came in grieving. I think it's because Barbara Crampton is so broken up, and because at least in the text of the movie, they say that her son does follow her there. The spirit of her son follows her there. So maybe the presence of a spirit like that like is about
Broke the
love and not
chain a little
hate.
that's
bit.
fair.
Maybe
Yeah.
that convinced them to turn
Yeah.
turn face on it. But like the house still demands it, not the
That's
people, not
okay.
the
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah.
not Dagmar, but the house is demanding, and they are, I guess, like by waiting and getting the townspeople there, they don't have a family killed necessarily, but they have the like enough people that I guess the house is satisfied. My question is, what happens after Paul Sacchetti looks down and sees his son and Barbara like together in some capacity? Like, is that saying that they are now being killed to join their son, and a mercy killing to join their son? Is that saying that they're just going to live there under the circumstances of living with their
Yeah.
deceased son and some murderous psychopathic?
Yeah. Are they gonna start killing
yeah.
people so they can just be
There
with
are
their
questions.
son? Yeah.
Well, that was
Yeah, I don't
also the
know.
thing too, though, because they're like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen 30 years and we do this, but nobody even knew these people were in town.
Yeah.
Well, Dagmar didn't, and that was another thing. It's like I feel like Dagmar. The whole reason we started talking about this is because somebody brought up him
When you
shooting
keep saying
a waitress or
Dagmar's
whatever.
the ghost.
I'm sorry,
You're talking
not-
about
I don't mean
Dave?
McCabe.
Okay.
Dave, yeah,
Yeah.
Dave McCabe.
Yeah.
That's who I'm talking about. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, uh, he blasts this waitress. Like, it's clear that there's like the whole town, except for newbies, except for like young people or whatever, are in on this. But it almost seems like they're kind of hiding it from Dave a little bit, because when they sit down with the Sachettis on the first night that they meet, they say something along the lines of like, he's like, oh yeah, we've been here 2 weeks or something like that, and he's like, really, 2 weeks, something they have some sort of exchange like that where
Yeah.
he's surprised, and I took it to be like he was legitimately surprised, like he didn't somehow get the memo, and that made me think that maybe later on I was like, I wonder if the town was like concealing it from him for some reason, like because he's the main proponent of all this. I just don't know. And that's where like the soup gets a little bit frothy and a little bit hard to follow. And maybe that's the Europeanness that it's going
Mm.
for. But it makes it a little bit harder for me because what I'm looking for is a campfire tale in the vein, like I said, of like an Are You Afraid of the Dark or something where it's like pretty easy to understand.
Yeah, I don't mind that it's not totally like cut and dry. Like if there's a little
Me
ambiguity,
neither.
I'm fine. Like I don't need to know like what realtor sold them this house, or like who they rent it from, or how did they get there. It's fine. Really doesn't bother me
I
that
just want
much.
to understand what what McCabe's motivations are, Dave McCabe's motivations are, like with a little more
Yeah.
detail,
Yeah.
and
I-
like what the just the town in general. Like we get the
He's
general
looking out
vibe
for
of them.
number one. He didn't want to get sucked into the portal
Yeah.
to hell or whatever.
Well, yeah, I guess I would say in my natural
why go
state
there?
that doesn't really I don't really care. But but so much of this movie is about dialogue and sometimes spoon feeding you this lore. So where again, when you get into the weeds of something where you really like kind of submit your movie in a kind of lore like this, and a lot of
Yeah,
it is
it's
built on
internal
giving
logic.
it to you, well then when it starts to fall apart, it really drags the movie down because you've based your movie in that, like you've
Yeah.
really asked the audience to join you on this journey, and a lot of your dialogue is based around delivering you this information. And so like, and I don't care about the realtor in the natural sense, but when we were talking about the internal logic of this film, where this dude who seems to be running this town and it's absolutely necessary to get a sacrifice, well, how does he not know that there's people in the house then? That seems
Yeah.
really
And
weird.
yeah, and or that maybe he was just surprised that they weren't dead already, because like there is
I
that
think
line
he
later. He's like,
definitely was surprised they
I think
weren't
that's
dead.
definitely part of
Yeah.
it, but it seemed almost like he just didn't know. And then his wife, like, who tries to like pass that note and like
Yeah,
is trying to
get out.
be
Mhm.
subterfuge to tell them to get out. Like ultimately, she gets stabbed, presumably by Dave, and I'm like, what was their deal? Like, what was like? Did she just not want to do
Yeah.
it anymore? And I don't know. I want to know just a little bit more if they're gonna show me all of that. It seems to be implying something, and I don't I don't know that what it's I don't know that it's the kind of thing that needs to be ambiguous to be powerful. I don't know that it's powerful at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And also
Yeah.
too, it's just like loosey goosey too, because you're gonna blast everybody else, but you're gonna stab your wife to death. Like
Yeah, in the
she's
ribs.
calling
Yeah.
the phone, and it's just some of it's just too a little silly.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't,
know.
I don't I don't mind the
There's a
silliness necessarily.
Well, we
I
know,
don't I
Bob.
part I mean, that's the thing, is like I keep oscillating because on the one hand, yeah, that's true. Like it is like like if I look at it a campfire tale, I can overlook some silliness. But
Yeah.
what I can't necessarily do is overlook internal logic and consistencies, at least ones that feel that are like confusion. Like I don't
Yeah.
feel like I should be confused watching a campfire tale on the level that I got here. It's not like detrimental to the point where it like ruins anything for the most part, but it does carry a weight
Yeah.
against the film a little bit to
Mhm.
I
me.
agree.
Yeah. I think a big reason I was a fan of this back when it came out was this sort of like throwback, late 70s kind of thing. I guess it felt like really, really fresh in 2015. Like there's been, plenty of stuff since then.
I mean, Conjuring was set in the 70s as well, right? And that was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah,
60s,
maybe you're
70s.
right. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Yeah, that does have more of like a classic haunted house feel to it. But this like Italian sort of, I don't know, the gore, like painting the walls red and having this like sort of layer of cheese to it. I don't know, it just felt like it was kind of tapping into something that I hadn't seen a lot of. Maybe it was out there and I didn't know about it, but it felt a little fresh in that way that it just didn't really remind me of a ton of stuff. Definitely seen a lot more Giallo since then, so like I get where they're coming from now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, in 2015 it just like it stood out to me.
You know what's interesting is I kind of got this impression that like I feel like, and this is just completely speculative on my part, but I feel like Haunting of Hill House like borrowed a lot of the moves of the earlier part of this film, like the things in the background, like, and that's not something that's totally unique to this movie, but it's like a few years removed. I feel like this sort of like brings some of that thinking out to the fore, and this movie did well enough in the horror community. I think that it might have had some sort of influence on that, and like that's one of the most praised things about that show. Like is the like concealing of things and like how it all operates or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of like speculating that maybe there's some sort of like inspirational crossover there. At first,
Maybe.
I was like, man, did this movie rip off Hill House? I was like, no, it's like 3 years prior, so no, it couldn't have. I don't know.
I'm sure they're all pulling from, similar
Yeah.
influences.
Yeah.
And again, that's
Um,
not exclusive to this film or anything. Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Insidious, the first one did that to some degree. Like, I just think that it's like kind of done on the sort of like quick and confusing, like really like snappy level that I don't know, that really made it stand out in a way that it doesn't stand out in some of those movies. So those other movies keep it really, 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 really subtle, and it's subtle enough in this but like when you see something moving back there, it's like your eyes jolt right to it. You know what I mean? You can tell like that was a figure that just ran for sure. Like
Yeah.
it's not just like a face standing still behind a grandfather clock. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
both have their merits. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I feel like the noticeability of that in this movie works to its benefit, but also made that sort of approach maybe a little bit more noticeable as well, generally speaking, in filmmaking in the horror space. I don't know. That's just complete speculation on my part. I might be talking out of my ass, but
Ace
that's always the
Ventura
case.
style. Just talking right
Yes.
out of your ass.
Oh yeah.
Directly out of the crack. Yeah.
Yeah, I dig some of the camera work in this, especially at the beginning before we see the ghost, like the first 20 or 30 minutes, whatever it is. There's a lot of like steady cam where it's not totally steady, you can like see that
Mhm.
it's moving a little bit, almost like you got this like ghosty POV, like a POV of their son's ghost, perhaps, where he's like, looking through the slats on the stairs or just like following them around corners, and it's got this like floaty kind of feeling to it. I
Mhm.
really liked that. Once we get introduced to the ghost, I feel like that sort of falls away a little bit, perhaps because like the presence of their son is just subdued by all these like evil fucking ghosts that come to. But I dig that the like down in the basement, it's like hotter than hell, and there's allegedly a portal to hell behind the wall that we don't get a chance to see. We see like blood exploding over the wall and shit. All that stuff just really works. The fact that the ghosts are like super hot to the touch and they can burn you just by touching you. There's a real like I don't know. There's like a new level of like terror when a ghost can like reach out and fucking grab you and burn the shit out of you, as opposed to just like haunt you or possess you. Like there's like it's all these different levels that they can fuck you up, and I dig
That's
that
true.
dimension to it. It feels
They're
fresh.
very
I don't know.
physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something about that. Like they're not wisps, they're not specters. They are fucking physical things that are going to burn your asshole off if they get the
Damn.
chance.
Not my asshole. I need that.
Very
Your
asshole
whole
centered,
I
Randy.
yeah.
I mentioned FetLife already, didn't I? Okay.
Feet life. Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I want to agree with Bob a bit, not just the camera work, but just the general like cinematography of this. I think looks really good. Like the just that 70s vibe, but just like some of the simple shots, just the location. I really like the location, the setup of it.
Yeah.
And then even like I said before, another one of those scenes, like going into the bar, the way that it was shot, you could feel the kind of tension, even though it felt like I could almost see this a little bit. These people that he got to pull in, they look like regular folks. And you have the suspicion that they're not necessarily actors or anything, but
You're correct.
but the way that it's shot, some of the, I don't know, just the way that it's shot has the real tension to it,
Yeah.
and felt very natural. And that was one of my favorite scenes where, again, I was thinking like, you're really utilizing, I think maybe one of the reasons I didn't like the ghost so much is because these other moments were shining so much. I was like, you're so capable of pulling this natural kind of tension out. of these, like creating this atmosphere of vibes. I
Mhm.
want to live in those moments more. I want more of those
Mm-hmm.
moments kind of like fleshed out, brought, because I thought that they were really the best parts to me. So, you were saying they're not real. Was it like a real small town or something, Bob?
Yeah, I forget the name of the town, but it's upstate New York, really, really small town. And yeah, they just got a bunch of locals to come chill at the bar while they were shooting that
It
scene.
felt like that, yeah,
Awesome.
but it felt really tense too. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, just I
It
thought that
reminded me of
those
Body
scenes were
Snatchers,
crafted over well.
honestly. Like
Yeah,
it should,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
paranoia of that scene is great. It's
Yeah.
extremely thick, and you're right. I wish there was a little more paranoia. Like we get that, we get the McCabe visit, we get that, and then we get like just a bunch of motherfuckers running up on their house from the
Yeah.
tree line for some reason. I don't know why they didn't take a car, but whatever. Like,
Yeah, they're all running through the field.
I was like, ah, with their pitchforks and shit. Like it's
Well,
great.
The ghost can only kill you in the car, but not if you're on the snow.
Ah, I
Dude,
see.
yeah, that's
It's
yeah, that's another
cool,
thing.
so
But
it melts them.
That's right. They don't
Yeah.
like it. Their feet are
they
so
don't- they
hot.
don't.
Oh yeah.
Well, in any case, like I just feel like there's if there was just like maybe one or two more scenes of them out and about at the town where it's not talking to just McCabe, but a few of the other people who are acting weird, like that mystery of why people are acting this way, or eventually it gives away pretty quickly, I guess, the mystery. But it's like just what what they're expecting out of this family and what out of these strangers, and just like the act of having to walk through a town like that you've just moved to, and literally every eye is looking at you but nobody will speak with you.
Mhm.
It's very fucking creepy, and I just
Mhm.
want a little bit more of that, I guess.
They're just
I agree with that.
watching a literal sacrifice stroll in to have their last meal potentially. It's like it's pretty fucked up. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird.
And they're not
Uh,
even like but they're also like looking at them kind of like disdainfully. It's not
Yeah.
it seems, at least it seems that way in the moment. You're like, it seems like
It
this whole town
does.
hates them.
Mhm.
And in the end, it definitely feels that way because they're trying to make sure that they are dead, but they are also motivated by other shit. Like, I don't know. It's like that Needful Things thing where it's like the whole town is like kind of coerced into doing shitty things to their neighbors so that it just makes the town hell on earth. It's kind of like that, but focused in on one family once every 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good sequence for. Yeah, it has that you're not from around here kind of small town vibe happening, but
Mhm.
there's more to it. Totally. Boys,
Yeah.
I think we've touched on just about everything. Let's go ahead and rate this, and of course, if there's anything else you want to add, feel free. Out of 5, Randy, why don't you kick us off, man? How do you feel about We Are Still Here?
I definitely feel generally positive, even though this wasn't quite the like I don't know, the cerebral journey that I anticipated after loving Brooklyn 45 so much. There's a little bit of that, but it's just not to this quite to the same level, and that speaks highly of what might come next from Ted. So I'm excited about. I'm excited to be disappointed in the future. I don't know. I'm excited to see where Ted goes in the future, but like this like overall, I feel like this movie is both simple and a little bit chintzy in kind of mostly good ways, but it also tries to parlay that into being pretty loose with its own internal logic, as Justin pointed out. And I think that's what gets me confused. And when I'm confused, I'm not as scared, and I'm not as tense. Not always. That's not always true. But in the case of me just trying to figure out the nuts and bolts of like interpersonal stuff between like McCabe in the town, or like I don't know, like the electrician and the Sacchetti, Mr. Sacchetti, and the roommate and the kid who has passed. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess there's just like a lot that's left kind of unexplored, and I don't think that's for the worse, but I kind of feel like it's introduced too much, if I'm worried with those things. It maybe even more simple would have been a little bit better. I really don't think they needed the roommate and his girlfriend stuff outside of the kill. I think that kill could have been accomplished during the big fucking bloodbath, or in flashback, or something else. Like, I know that he probably wanted to keep the momentum, the fear going throughout, so that was probably part of the thinking there. But it just feels like it both kind of leads nowhere and also doesn't it also kind of seems to undercut what I think is the ultimate ending is saying the Dagmar family is operating under. So there's that. I liked the acting. I liked like Barbara. I thought did pretty great. I really liked how much of a dink the Mr. Sacchetti was, but also that he was willing to believe, just not like super. He was dubious, but not going to discount his wife or look down on her. He was going to support her regardless. And I feel like that's an extreme positive that you don't always get in these kind of haunted house movies. It's always the like Patrick Wilson, nah, you're crazy, honey, sort of thing. Like, well, even Patrick Wilson didn't do it that in Insidious, I guess, but you know what I'm talking about. Like that's the classic, is the dad being like, no, you're crazy, and the mom being like, no, I'm being haunted.
Got
They
that
didn't do that.
womanly hysteria.
Yeah, exactly. Like
She's got the
bringing back
war
the
in
old
her.
hits. I don't know. I just really, I guess I'm of two minds about a number of things in this thing, but like ultimately, my top view of this movie is I like the performances. I liked even Larry Fessenden as I thought was like a little bit like the other actors or whatever. I thought they mostly did a good job. They were just like bigger and more like bombastic than our lead two. The lead two felt like an A24 movie. The rest of the characters felt like I don't know, like a better end of a Blumhouse movie. You know what I mean? Like those are the kind of characters that seems like they're intermingling, but not exactly perfectly in tone in my mind. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling here because I'm trying to decide what to give it. I think I'm just going to land on a 3.25.
3.25 from your boy Randeezy. Juice, how do you feel out of 5?
Yeah, I would say generally, I think this conversation has bumped me up just a scotch. But what I would say is I really, really enjoyed the first 20 minutes of this, the setup, the vibe. Like I said, one of my favorite scenes is when he comes in and he explains about the history of the house and stuff. That was just really fun. That campfire tale, that local legend, like I said, the local haunted house that's on that kind of abandoned street or whatever. It was fun, and they set it up really well. I like the setting. I like the cinematography from the start. As far as the acting goes, I'm kind of 50-50 with it. I thought some of the acting was really good, or at least fun. I disagree with Randy, and I think it's partially by design. So one of the like I I think that the reason I don't like the acting is because it's stylized in a certain kind of way, which is makes me strange to think like Randy thinks it's like an A24 film, because there's times where it feels almost like a 70s sitcom where the mom is like, you do this and I'll keep pouring. It feels like there should be this little like laugh track in the background or something. It feels very cheesy on purpose, but it was just pulling me out of the vibe. So, that style wasn't necessarily for me. And then I do think there is lackluster acting, mostly the teens that come, or the college kids that come in. Like I wasn't crazy about that. But yeah, the interaction between the husband. So I would say that acting I didn't think was very good. And then also to the kind of hippie wife, she was spotty in some places. And then the interactions between the husband and the wife was stylized in a certain way that just wasn't for me. It was a little too cheesy. But then I thought that Larry did a really good job, and that Dave had some really good acting going on. So I like split. I'm split there. And then, like I said, I really love the practical effects with the blood spurting out behind the table, the dude getting sucked into the stairs. So the last 10 to 15 minutes were really rewarding for me. The first 20 minutes, good atmosphere setup. A couple spots in the middle, like going to the bar scene and stuff like that. And then the last 10 to 15 minutes really paid off in a fun kind of way. But the middle section really was kind of dragging me down in some spaces. Some spotty acting, some confusing internal logic, and then, like I said, I just didn't like these ghosts constantly in your face too much. You should have pulled back on that, I think, and had more moments where you're kind of playing with the mood and the atmosphere, like the dude like spitting out these crazy lines and stuff like that. I feel like you could have developed more elements like that. But overall, I'm gonna give it a 3, because I think it's like slightly, most things are split, but I think slightly more positive. So 3 out of 5 for me.
Sweet deal.
Bob, out of 5. What are you gonna give We Are Still Her?
I dig this movie a pretty good amount. I think there's like some humor worked in here that we didn't really touch on a whole lot of that I appreciate. Specifically, whenever Larry Fessenden and his wife May and Jacob, their characters roll up, there's this brief moment where they're getting out of the car and the other couple realize that May is driving. And they're like, "Oh my God, they're so progressive!" Like some moments like that really worked well for
That's
me.
some real shit, though.
It is some real shit. Yeah. And then when they go
Like
to
the
town
dedication
again,
to the time period overall was
Yeah.
fucking incredible. Like if you just look around their house, it's fucking impeccable.
But
yeah.
is it your dad's like that, right? He will not let anybody else drive the car, right?
Dude, no, it's a control issue. It's not that like, women don't know how to drive. He
Well,
won't let
yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
fucking drive. Yeah, it's a control thing. What was I saying? Oh, the humor. Yeah. Also Fessenden in this whenever they're like getting ready to go to bed and he's lounging in his like satin robe and it's all
Yeah.
undone.
Yeah.
And he's
I
rolling
liked
a
his
fatty.
character, man.
Like,
Yeah.
I
God,
liked him sometimes, but then like like choosing to do the seance without his wife for no reason, like shit
doesn't
like
quite
that, I was
make
like,
sense.
Yeah,
what the
that's
fuck?
fair.
Like
Yeah.
I thought you were like he seemed like very supportive of pretty much everything, and then his wife leaves and he's like, all right, here we go, and he's
Yeah.
just into it.
And he's
Anyway, I'm
like,
sorry.
yeah, my wife would never fucking do this. There's evil everywhere. Let's fucking do it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he did because that scene rules. Speaking of that scene, you guys may or may not remember some of the trivia for Brooklyn 45. Was some notes that Ted got after this movie came out. People watched it and they all kept saying how much they just loved the seance scene over and over again. And his sort of explanation of how the seed that planted Brooklyn 45 was like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna do a movie that's just a giant ass seance, and then he went from there.
There you go.
So yeah, that scene I think is incredible. Larry Fessenden really like kind of flexes some acting guns there. Again, this brought Barbara back home. Definitely thankful for that. The Lucio Fulci kind of vibes. I like his movies to a degree. Sometimes they're a little too nonsensical for me, but like the aesthetics that they pull from that, specifically the aesthetics, I really like the wide-eyed sort of zombie creatures is like a classic Fulci thing. These ghosts just sort of like ripping people apart with like this like splat stick kind of vibe. I really dig that. The gateway to hell being under the house is like Fulci has like the 3 movies that are all about that, the different gateways, The Beyond being one of them, which we have reviewed on the show before. The vibe of the town being covered in snow in the middle of nowhere, this like small town, like oppressive, like snowy, freezing cold, like situation, and you're like mourning the loss of your son. It just feels like so heavy when the movie starts. It just feels very, very heavy. I just dig a lot of the choices that were made here. I think we kind of covered it. The camera work again, good shit, just some good shit. So yeah, overall, I'm going to come in with a 3.75 out of 5 on this. That's going to put our aggregate at a 3.3. And as is per usual, when you guys pick a flick for us to review, you are encouraged to send over either a voicemail or an email with your own thoughts and ratings. And our boy Nate did send over a voicemail. Randy, do you have that?
I sure will in a second.
Tight.
All right, here we go.
What up? Hey, it's Nate calling in about the U-Pick. Really, thanks for reviewing it. Looking forward to hearing it. I can't believe I just assumed everyone had seen it. I actually just discovered it like a month or so ago myself. Saw it was from our boy Ted. Love Brooklyn 45, so I thought I'd check it out. And yeah, it was great. I was like, oh shit, that's gonna be my U-Pick now. Yeah, it was really good. They packed a lot of stuff into, I don't think it's even 90 minutes. It really kind of keeps you on your toes. Good pacing. Starts off, you think it's like a haunted, ghost kid story, and then it's a haunted house story, and then it's like a cult story. cult or town cult, something going on there, maybe a portal to hell. And it's like a possession story and then a home invasion, still town cult type of thing, and then boom, Ghost House Revenge. Yeah, no, it was fun. I enjoyed watching it. The gore is pretty rad. It's got a pretty good story. Performances and casting are great. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. And hail yeet Skeeter.
All right.
I was like, which one is he
All
gonna
right.
say? Which one? Oh my god.
I was listening to an old episode, and we used to do Hell Yeet Mesquite, which was pretty funny. That's a throwback.
Ah, yes.
Oh my god.
We've grown so much.
Oh, really matured.
Have we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like wine. White Zinfandel.
Idiotic wine.
Idiotic wine.
This wine gets better with age. This idiocy. Yeah, I think that like Nate actually makes a pretty good point that this movie does kind of like roll together quite a few aspects that could on their own maybe stand up as like the centerpiece of a horror movie, and it somehow does that without overly bogging it down or bloating the runtime. That is pretty admirable.
Tight runtime. I'll say appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not loose.
I'm not medium to loose like Bob. That's not my preference. I like a nice tight runtime.
Like, I need a relaxed runtime, 100 minutes or
Anyone
more.
want to switch seats?
Yeah, I something when I was watching this movie, it just maybe because it's this time of the year, I was like, man, this feels like a good tone setter for like getting into spooky season proper.
Well, that's where you're wrong, Bob, because you see,
yeah.
this is a winter film, which
Not
comes
a damn-
after spooky season.
I don't
And
know.
actually,
the
there's a fir
seasons.
tree in this movie, so it's a Christmas movie.
Oh, it's a Christmas movie. You heard it here,
Well,
folks.
Yeah, there's
There
a
you
fir
go.
tree somewhere on that tree line. I guarantee it. And therefore,
Probably.
Christmas movie.
A Douglas, a Fraser, maybe both. They're there.
Probably both.
Probably both. Yeah, this is it. This is a good pick, man. Thanks for choosing this one, Nate. I haven't seen it in years, and I just similar to Nate, totally thought you guys had seen it like several times. Was wrong.
No,
So,
You're
it's been
very
on
wrong.
the stack for a long time. I was
nice.
I'm grateful when a movie that I've been like just neglecting
Yeah.
because of time or whatever gets picked, because it just means like, okay, I can finally check this off my to-do list. I've checked this movie out. I've experienced it, and it was worth my time. Great, check. You
Yeah.
know?
Nice.
Likewise, this is one of my thousands of blues that has sat unwatched on my
Thousands?
shelf for years.
That's crazy.
I know. It is.
You could have bought a snowmobile with all that money.
I could have, yeah. I could have been blazing the trails this whole time.
Oh man.
The
What a
snowy
waste.
trails of soul. Just no Justin in sight.
Just soju. There is no Justin, only soju.
Just
I'm fully Korean now, okay. Oh, by the way, come on, Ted. You can't be dropping the Orientals line. Come on, guy. You got
Oh, dude, I forgot about that.
Selling it to the Orientals for chop suey.
For chop suey.
Oh, I think that's Perfect 1970s
Of the time.
for the
bigotry,
character.
you know,
Yeah,
like,
it makes
Yeah.
sense. But
yeah.
1970s old white man bigotry up in the frigid north. I mean, if they didn't have a little of that, that wouldn't be realistic enough.
Yeah. Just because it's in the movie doesn't mean it's condoned,
Right.
But yeah, thanks for picking this flick there, Nate. Let's go and jump into our Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users have to say.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these two gentlemen guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is for We Are Still Here on RottenTomatoes.com. I think we're going to start today with Soju. Soju, there are 44 reviews to count here, so not a whole heaping ton. 44 reviews. What percentage of those reviews would you wager are positive for We Are Still Here?
I think that it will. Oh man, This is tough. Such a small amount suggests that, like, I don't know what this feels like a festival kind of movie where you're gonna get some festival reviews, and I think they'll probably be a little kinder, but it's hard to kind of gauge. I don't know. I think our score will generally be kind of close, maybe. So I'll say 69. I took the 69 dudes
Oh my God, all 69.
dudes!
because we average 66, so you got to give it a little
Yes.
extra bump there.
Save some dudes for the rest of
Uh-huh.
us, man.
I know,
No.
for real. I won't save them.
No.
Bob,
Taking
where
all
are you
the
coming in
dudes
on
off
this?
feetlife.com.
Feetlife.gov. Juice went 69. I'm gonna see if we can tie again, and I'll take the
Whoa.
over with a 71.
71.
Trying to relive history. I think that's a once in a lifetime thing, Bob.
You're probably right, dude.
Yeah, you're definitely right. That is definitely not going to work out this time. You know, that lightning's already in a bottle. Let's just
That was
keep it
crazy.
there.
I'm glad we got it though.
Yeah, refer to our last episode where statistically
lose our
unlikely
minds.
shit happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, you guys are 24 percentage points off from the correct
Damn.
answer, which is 95%
Damn.
certified
Holy
fresh.
Must have had
That
a
is-
good festival run.
That is up there.
Those nerds are out there licking boots.
Man.
On feetlife.gov.
Mhm.
see,
Licking
you guys
boots.
know.
I
You
don't.
know.
I should have
I
said this,
definitely know.
and I forgot to mention this. Nate hit me on the side with a text. He forgot to say in his voicemail he gives this a 4 out of 5 stars. By the way.
Oh, okay.
There
Oh,
you go.
okay, good.
I have a daddy kink.
Whoa,
That-
Bob, I know. Okay, take it to Buffet Life. Okay.
Don't
Um,
forget.
There are 2,500 plus critic reviews on the poopometer, the popcornometer, whatever you
Oh,
call
yeah.
it now. There are 2,500 plus ratings, and we're going to go in reverse order with Bob starting us off. Out of those 2,500 plus, what percentage are positive?
Well, I think it's going to be lower than the critics because damn, dude, that's nuts. I'll take the boys 86 project, please.
86 comma project. Okay, that's in there. Juice, what about you? Coming in over, coming in under?
No, I'm gonna take the under, and I'll say 75.
75%. Okay. I'm going to have to do a little brain math here. Give me a second. Okay.
Beep,
So
Beep, boop, boop,
a
beep,
little
boop,
bit
boop.
further this time. A 28% differential between the correct guess and the
Holy shit.
So
or the
I
the,
won.
the closest guess. Yeah, Justin won. This is a 47% on the popcorn meter.
Oh, big swings, like two extremes on both ends.
Like
there.
half.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
These things need to be
Wow.
not even averaged, better than averaged, I would say. Like, but damn, I was
Mm.
shocked by those scores.
Well, you know what that means? It means we just got a hell skeeting yeet, boys.
Yes, that's what a boy likes.
We
That's what a
like
boy
that.
likes.
That's what
That's
we
what
like.
a boy like. So last week you guys were all consistently 1 point away on every guess. This week,
Not even
24, 28 point differences.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we
Killing
get a
it.
wide array here.
Yeah. Ooh, that's wild.
Yeah. Here's the critics' consensus. Smart, powerfully acted, and devilishly clever. We Are Still Here offers some novel twists on familiar territory and heralds the arrival of a major talent in writer-director Ted Gagan. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, it didn't feel like it went into like completely unknown territory. It just seemed like it was playing
Not
within the
really.
genre that it's
Yeah.
living in. I don't
Yeah.
know.
An interesting mashup of stuff.
It's not
but
that
like,
it's not unique, but it's not like exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But-
Yeah, I also agree that I think he made a huge leap in Brooklyn 45. I mean, that was in my top 5 of last year whenever
Yeah.
it came out.
Yeah,
and
I adore that
it was
movie.
incredible.
all of ours,
That was
yeah.
an incredible movie. Yeah. So
yeah.
So yeah,
Keep it up,
This is a
Ted.
pretty glowing arrival for Ted. Then Brooklyn is pretty much digging in as far as I'm concerned. I'm excited to see what comes
Mhm,
next from this
yeah.
guy.
Don't put it out with your boots, Ted.
Yes.
going.
Okay.
What?
Very, very strange Billy Madison reference in the middle of all
Yeah.
this.
Thank
Okay.
you for getting that.
Well, I mean, I've known you too long to not get
You
that.
have. You're right.
Yeah. That's more or less the end for Rotten Tomatoes. I will read. There are only 2 negative reviews, so I'm going to read one of them. We Are Still Here is more or less a 90-minute tribute to the superior haunted house features that came before. Great poster, though. That's very
I
dismissive
didn't
and
even
glib.
see the poster.
Oh, it is pretty cool. It's the box. I don't know if you can see
Great
that
poster.
very well.
Yeah. Okay.
Spooky ghosts.
I mean, there are only 2 blurbs that are negative. I'll read the other one just because. We are still here and will make you scream and make you laugh and possibly leave you speechlessly gesticulating at a charred zombie-like ghost in the background. But the peak moments are too few. I think that was like 90% a positive review.
Yeah.
Like, at
That
least blurb based.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that's it. Bob, how's the trivia looking on your side?
There wasn't much. Pretty much what I found, I already mentioned in the
Okay.
wider discussion. So let's go ahead and move along to Cooter of the Week.
Straight chillin'. Cooter of the week.
Juice, what is a Cooter and why do we hunt them?
Oh, Cooter's a character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter has to hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter. But we want the Cooter with the most points. The 5 points of Cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall look and attire, and overall patheticness. Boys, do we have any Cooters this week?
I think we have one
My boy
pretty
Dave.
obvious candidate. Dave. Hey, Dave.
Manipulation.
Yeah.
He's,
he's
a
kind of
smooth
running.
talker though.
Oh yeah. He's got that
He's
silver
got that
tongue.
small town preacher man kind of swag to him.
He's
That's
got a
true,
vibe.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely he's got a
Christianity.
Yeah.
he's got a touch of the racism in him, you know.
Well,
got a-
yeah.
Just got a little touch of racism. That's all.
So manipulation for sure. Smug arrogance,
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably.
I think so.
I think that you have to be pretty fucking arrogant to think that your bullshit that you're running, your cult that you're running, demands that you just blast a woman for opening the door for you. Like
And
I think
stab your
yeah.
wife, apparently.
stab your wife in the
Yeah.
goddamn ribs. I want to know what transpired between them. Like,
Yeah,
I just
what?
want to know a little more there. Like anyway, but
She probably wanted to drive.
pathetic.
he showed
Yeah,
her.
his- He probably said like, we probably shouldn't be in Vietnam. Stabbed
Oh my.
instantly.
Damn. That sounds like commie talk to me.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, so no sexual deviancy, right? None of that's going on.
Not that I'm
I don't
aware
think so.
of.
Yeah.
Patheticness. How does he die? What's his? I know he
He gets
dies.
he gets
His head
taken from behind.
explodes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
He gets incredible hulked by a fiery demon man.
Yeah.
It's great, by the way. I don't know,
Is
like
that pathetic?
it's
though?
pathetic that I think so because he went in there he's like, why are you taking so long? You gotta need to kill somebody, and it's like, oops, I didn't think they'd kill me. I didn't think that the leopards eating
kinda
my face
like-
party would come after me.
Yeah, he is kind of like demanding of the ghost. It's like
Yeah,
"God,
of the
what the-
killer
he's in charge
ghost.
here.
Yeah.
He's like, like these ghosts that are angry with the whole town for murdering his whole family,
Yeah, I
and
think
that's
that
the
was part
whole
of my
reason they
logic
exist now.
problem.
Anyway, he's like,
What are
you know, why don't you
doing?
get to work?
If he had some
You fucking
talisman
lazy.
or some kind of
Yeah.
book that he held over them or something. I don't know. But he
Like
doesn't.
the
Yeah.
Bible,
It
The
wouldn't be
good
that book.
some
Uh,
kind of book.
I'm just saying. Usually there's some way to control these things if you're going to be
Yeah.
so demeaning.
Trying to confuse me with your liberal biblicisms.
I am. Yeah, I don't know if he hits enough though. What would I mean? Patheticness maybe. So that would be 3, I guess.
I think it's
Yeah.
yeah. I think he's I think he's hitting
Skirting
3. I don't know.
by.
The only other
Yeah.
candidates I can think of would maybe be, like, I don't think so, but like Larry Fessenden's character, maybe because he's got at least for the time like the hippie looking attire,
Looking
which at the
attire,
time
that
would have been
robe.
yeah.
I think it looks pretty.
Yeah.
I think he's living right.
Yeah, I don't have a
I
problem
know
with
what
it, but I
you
think in the
Bob.
context
I
of
know
the
how
movie.
you want to live.
Right, but-
That's pretty much you.
I know how-
That's
I get
pretty
it,
badass,
honestly.
man. I think it's pretty badass.
It is. It is.
He's got his woman driving for him. He's laying around in his robe, gut out.
Very.
Did you guys
very
recognize-
comfortable.
Did you guys recognize that May, the actress who played May, her name's Lisa Marie, and she was in several Tim Burton films, including Mars Attacks as the Martian girl. Who
I think
Sneaks
she
into the
was
White
married
House.
or is still married to Tim Burton.
is she? I don't know
Yeah.
this person
I
outside
thought
of the, like I'm looking
he
this
was
up.
married to what's her face, who's always
Oh
in his
yeah,
movies.
yeah. The oh shit, what is her fucking name? She's
Yeah,
in
what
like
is her
everything.
name?
Yeah.
She was in Harry Potter
Oh,
I'm
Maggie,
a,
Maggie
with the
Smith.
crazy hair. She's got the crazy
Yeah.
hair.
yeah.
Oh my god, what is her name? She's like so famous. Oh my
Hagrid.
god.
He's married.
She
to
was
Hagrid.
Bellatrix Lestrange.
Oh yeah.
How do I know that?
So- So he was
Jesus
married.
Christ, this is a sad excuse for a
He-
fucking film
he-
review show.
So Helena Bonham Carter is what we're trying to think. So he was
Okay.
married to
Yeah.
Lisa
Yes.
Marie from 93 to 2001, then Helena Bonham Carter from 2001 to 2014, and now he's married to Monica Bellucci. So he's had 3 wives.
Damn,
really?
that
Well.
dude's
That explains why she's in Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
dude's having a good time.
He's having a time.
He is doing things.
He exists.
I think we can all agree the man is
Exa-
working.
He's breathing.
All right.
Anyway, this is not the tangent we need to be
I
on. Anyway, I'm
think
sorry.
we got the cooter of the week.
Let's just call it the man. Let's
We
call it
got him. What's his name, Randy?
the man. His name's the man. He's the man.
We
His
got
name's Dave. Dave McCabe. Bob. If you weren't so keyed into FetLife right now, you'd know that.
I keep scrolling Feet's lives. Okay, let's talk about what we've been watching the past like 2 months or whatever.
Oh, good luck.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Randy, run them down. What you been watching?
Honestly, I haven't been adding very much recently. Just been too much going on. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to mention, there's only 5 things here, are things that I haven't watched recently anymore, but I watched a few weeks ago, so we haven't talked about it yet. So here they are. I've been watching some later seasons of King of the Hills, which I've always, like, not necessarily intentionally, but never really gotten around to. Because every time I see a later one, I'm like, this feels off somehow
It
to me.
does, yeah.
And yeah, season 11 and 12 era is not great. There's a few bangers in there, I would say, a handful that I've seen, like, but it's not its best success rate by any stretch. There was a time where every episode's like, oh, this is the greatest episode. Oh no, this is the greatest episode. And there's nothing close to that going on in latter King of the Hill. It does give me a little bit of pause for the upcoming reboot, but hopefully some of that marination time did it good. And I do trust Mike Judge, generally speaking. He's a very, very funny dude. I also rewatched Smile, which I liked more this time around. Like, I think I like that movie a little bit more every time I watch it, which has been 3 times now, so not that often. But I don't know. I had a good time with it. I think that the biggest thing that movie suffers from, looking back at it now, is just that it was playing in extremely well-worn territory, or like territory that had been touched on extensively and by better films not long before this movie came out. It seemed like it was kind of aping things like Babadook and things like that, like trauma horror. Like, it was playing with those same things, but it just felt like we were kind of lousy with that at the time, and that dragged me on it a little bit. But I enjoyed it this time around a little bit more. I watched the movie Humane, which I think it sounded like everybody else was a little more down on than I was. At least from Rob, when you dropped your mini episode on it, people were you and they were like a little bit down on it.
Yeah, kind of mixed. Yeah.
I enjoyed that movie, man. I don't know. Like I thought that the core conceit was definitely the best part, but that's kind of the truth with a lot of like conceptual horror stuff or conceptual genre stuff. I don't know. I think that some of the performances are better. Like some of those performances were fucking great though. Anytime you can cast Jay Baruchel in a role like that, you're going to get a great performance out of him because he is perfect at playing a sniveling little weasel. I loved it. I loved that part of it, and I loved the actor who played Bob, the person Bob.
Bob was
I don't
the
want to
best
spoil
part.
what his role
Yeah.
is, but like at first I was a little bit like, I don't know, man. They might be trying too hard with this guy. But the more they built him up, the more I was like, actually, like they kind of made him pretty well rounded as a character. Anyway, I enjoyed that movie. Those were some of the highlights for me. I think that it's not like high cinema necessarily, but it is pretty good. I had a great time with it. Milk and Cereal, the found footage short / feature, almost feature length found footage film that was released by some more YouTube dudes who normally do like comedy and shorts and things like that. I don't remember their names. I'm so sorry. But that was dropped into the Slack not that long ago, and I think it's been sort of like picking up steam. I haven't heard a bad thing about it from horror fans. Horror fans seem to be embracing this thing pretty widely, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. For those who don't know, the conceit is that it's a found footage film, but it's by people who are YouTubers. It's basically them playing like themselves, where they're like, we have to put out content, and their whole content mill is set around pranking each other. So the things like that explains why they're filming all this. That explains the links to which they're going to do all this stuff. But then there's some context that is added, like maybe midway through or whatever, that turns it into an entirely different kind of thing. Like it goes from being like pranks going too far and oh shit, something's going down, to something else entirely. And I honestly think that it is one of the better horror things I've seen this year. The surprise of it was part of that. And then last thing I'm going to bring up is Are You Afraid of the Dark? I started trying to watch Rob and I have been talking about TV Halloween specials recently on the side a little bit. And,
without me?
Without you. You don't
Please
have time.
include me.
That was my explicit request, by the way. No, but wanted to watch some more Halloween-y stuff in the Are You Afraid of the Dark catalog, and Tale of the Twisted Claw was the one I started with. I might watch another one. That's another Halloween-y one later tonight, but that's basically like a retelling of the Monkey's Paw. But but very Canadian and Nickelodeon.
Someone drowns in poutine gravy.
It also happens on Halloween though, and it's like got some good Halloween vibes in there. I don't know. Are You Afraid of the Dark, man? I have such a soft spot for that shit, and it did me right. I'll say that. I don't know how to put it in succinctly other than I had a great time. That's all I got on my list. Soju, how about you?
Be more succinct, Randy.
Yeah, pretty much all my time is dedicated to just watching stuff for this podcast. So, some upcoming mini episodes. I did watch Queen of the Damned to talk with Caitlin as a feature. And then I finally got to watch Cuckoo, which was one that eluded me at like all the festivals we covered. I couldn't ever get a screener or watch it, but I finally got to see it. And I did a mini cast on it. So it was very interesting. It's a very particular film, one of the more unique horror films of this year. And even in my mini cast, it was hard for me to like fully process it. It's been a couple weeks now since I've watched it, and it's weird. It's a weird one. Very particular. Yeah. Very particular. Not like in a bad way, just in a weird way.
Stay in your lane, movie.
No, I mean that's fine. But I also watched that new Shyamalan hotness, Trap. I always think it's Trapped, like the terrible band.
And the sweet band.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Don't be so headstrong.
My favorite band. but it's not his trap. And yeah, that was okay. I did a mini cast on that one as well.
I'm genuinely surprised that was not an outright hatefully negative statement about
well,
this movie.
I mean, it's okay on a Shyamalan scale. Everything's graded on a
Okay.
Shyamalan scale.
That's a pretty
Which
jagged curve
goes,
too.
yeah, which is a deep bell curve. But yeah, it's yeah, I also he was in because I'm still slowly, even though it's not even that many episodes. He was also I'm still going through the Bear season 3, and he's in that as well. He's that guy's ex-wife's new husband, Hartnett. He is
Oh yeah, that's right. He's
yeah.
I thought you
that's
meant
right. He's
Shyamalan.
No.
was like,
Sorry,
what?
sorry.
Okay.
They let a Philly guy in this Chicago show? What the fuck?
No, so yeah, it's just good to see him. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I watched that and also did a mini cast on that, so that will be coming out eventually. And then also too, I've just been going through and already started watching some of the Treehouse of Horrors. Going through that. I started to watch because one of the ones like they don't, I guess the one that came out last year, but they're just now like putting the new season out on Disney Plus or whatever. So I was like, oh yeah, let me see what they did for last year. And one of the segments was like a mix between that Hannibal show and like Mindhunters or something. But dude, it's just not as good anymore.
Oof.
It's like not even fun. There's not any jokes. It's just you're just watching them like
Just reference other shit.
yeah, you're just watching them do a version of a thing, and you're like, well, I
Yeah.
mean, this exists. Like, it's
God,
not
that
even.
sucks.
It's not funny at all.
That
I didn't
sucks.
finish it, but I mean, luckily that's like 35 or something, so it's not like we'll be getting there anytime soon. But it's just like what are they doing? Who's like, this is not a comedy. It's just like
Yeah.
a reference show. I don't, it's just like taking
Ugh.
something that exists and putting it in yellow cartoon form. I don't know. So
Who is it? Frankenstein? The Boogerman?
but
See,
I was
comedy.
watching some of the classics. Yeah, I was watching
Yeah.
some of the classics. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I've been watching. Bob, what you been watching these weeks, these past months?
A few things. I watched a newer release called What You Wish For. I rented this on Amazon, and it's basically about this dude who's fallen on hard times. He's a chef, doesn't really have any money. His friend landed he was also a fellow chef, landed this cooking gig for some wealthy people abroad, and he goes to visit them. And while he's visiting them, it's in oh man, I forget what country now, somewhere in South America. His friend dies when he's there visiting him, and he assumes his identity and takes his cooking job because it's very well paid and he needs money. So he does this job, and it turns out there's like more like deep dark bullshit associated with the job that he didn't know about, and now it's, you know, he's in too deep, he can't leave or whatever.
Now
people.
you fucked up. You have fucked up now.
He has fucked up now. And it very much reminded me of The Menu, but not as thought-provoking really in any way. But it has similar kind of vibes to it. I think if The Menu didn't exist, I would have been like more impressed with this, but it just like it just kept reminding me of things that I'd seen done better. And it's okay. It's not a bad movie necessarily, but I did feel like when it ended, I was like, that is exactly what I expected to happen almost every step of the way. There was like really no surprise. It felt a little by numbers, I guess. It was okay. I also revisited Hubie Halloween a couple days ago because it is that time of year. And that movie is just so fucking stupid in a way that I can get down with. I like it.
It's plumb awesome.
It's plumb awesome. I also revisited Red Dragon because I hadn't seen that in forever.
Oof.
Some incredible acting power in that movie, but it's okay. It's no Silence of the Lambs.
Those follow-ups, you know, they don't really.
Yeah, I think it's the better like sequel of Silence of the Lambs, like Hannibal and Hannibal Rising. not so great. I never did watch that show though. Everybody loves the Hannibal show.
I
probably
started
need
Apparently
to,
it's great.
but like, yeah,
Yeah.
it had, if I remember right, it had a little bit of that like television vibe though. It wasn't quite like a Mindhunters, like of the quality. It had kind of that like CW vibe built in a little bit.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's-
You know what I'm
CW vibe
talking
is not a
about.
vibe.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want.
yeah. It's it doesn't feel quite as, I guess, cinematic. It's made for TV, and it
Not
kind of
as
feels
well,
that way.
yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay
Like
though.
a
It's not.
Dexter, you know?
It's like, yeah, it's kind
Mm.
of, it just got a vibe to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like Red Dragon though. Philip Seymour Hoffman gets murdered in a gnarly way in that movie. It's
Yeah, he does.
tough. Pretty good. I also rewatched. I saw the TV Glow, and I liked it even more the second time. You just connect more dots when you're watching it. The movie's gorgeous. It's just incredible. I love it. Watch it.
Great.
Definitely held up very well. I threw on Basketball, which
Hell
can't remember.
yeah.
I may have mentioned that like a month ago. I don't know. I watched it so long ago, but it's great, and you should watch it. It's amazing.
That movie fucking rules.
It does.
It is
But
so stupid.
put more ska bands in movies, please.
Yeah.
Do that.
In anything and everything.
In anything and everything. Also watched Scream 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Whoa.
Just going through a lot of Screams.
If you don't have a copy, you can always go pick it up.
Precisely, Randy. Thank you. Thank you for the assist there. And those are a mixed bag. Some are great, some are terrible. There you go. Scream movies. And yeah, that's, I believe, all I've been watching for the past few weeks. So there you go there. We do not have any voicemails this week, but if you guys are listening, would like to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show or on episode 500, you can hit us up at 904-638-3231. Do you guys have any prompts you want to throw out for next week's show?
Next week we're covering Beetlemang, right?
Beetlemang Deuce. Yeah.
Is there any movie that you feel actually deserves, or you have a good idea for a go backs and revisits them? Like, we've had a lot of shit lately, and I'm not super hopeful for Beetlemang coming up, but like, is there any property that you feel is kind of like buried in obscurity, or I mean, they've brought a lot of shit back at this point. I mean, because like Dark Crystal had a show that came back. I mean, like Ghostbusters had a movie this year. We did Alien Romulus. I mean, just like, what hasn't been touched that you think is kind of like buried in obscurity that could have some good continuation? Not a remake.
That's the thing.
Like Carry On the Legacy.
A legacy sequel.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so that is a little different than what I thought you were asking.
Not a remake, but like to go back and flesh the world out more, or
go back and revisit them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't be any more clear than that.
Couldn't be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We just have a lot, and most of them feel like just soulless cash grabs. So do you have a good idea for something that the world should or could be richer, or like there's a lot more depth there, but like since it's not like this big property, nobody's touching it or something like that, I don't know.
I don't know that I feel that way about this particular revisitums, but there is in the works a Coherence sequel, which is very strange to me, because like that movie is mostly it feels like it's just a handful of film and horror nerds that even know that shit exists, and like I gotta think that if it got funding to make a new movie, it's because the story must be good. I hope anyway. It's not like there's like a double-edged sword to this sort of thing, where in order to you want something that could do with more fleshing out, like you said, that could benefit from more time in that world.
Yeah.
But in order for the bean counters to allow that to happen, they need to have seen enough success the first time around to make it worth their while. And usually if it has seen that success, it's because it stands alone already. It doesn't need anything more. So it's a very fucking hard tightrope to find that sort of movie. I don't know
Yeah.
that Coherence really fits that. I kind of think it's insular on its own. It's like it's a perfectly great film on its own. I don't know if we need more, but the fact that it is a small film getting a sequel 10 years later on the backs of just a handful of film dorks, like, I don't know. I'm a little bit intrigued by it. So
That is a weird one. I wonder if Patton Oswalt, like speaking out on it, really gave it the extra
Maybe.
bit of steam that it needed for that to happen.
maybe
maybe
he
he's.
bankrolled it. I don't know.
I was gonna say maybe he did. Yeah, maybe. Interesting. Yeah,
know-
that's a good prompt.
I know we don't need another Nightmare Before Christmas. I hope they stay away from that shit.
I think it's really time for us to go right back into the alien world and really see what
Oof.
this whole place is about. I need to figure out a little bit more, and I need to know who's a bitch that needs to get their hands off people. That's what I need to know.
I need to know.
Oh,
If they
my
don't tell
lord.
me, I don't know.
I mean,
Is that a bitch or not?
I want to see the Paul Reiser origin story.
It's a
please and
question I
thank
often
you.
ask myself.
Where's Ripley? I can't tell.
I don't
Get over
know.
here.
Should I get my hands off this bitch?
Yeah, that's a good prompt for next week. Colin, let us know if there is a movie you think deserves a legacy sequel. Hit us up at 904-638-3231. Or call and leave a voicemail to be featured on episode 500, and I'll hold on to that until we record that show. Talking about Beetlejuice next week. Coming out this Friday. Slam your eyeballs into it. Get ready for next week's show. We're on all the social media. Just search Straight Chilling Podcast and we will pop right up. If you want to join in our daily Slack channel conversations, hit us up on social media and say so. I'll send you a link so you can join in on the fun. We talk about the movie of the week, TV shows, video games. We trade recipes, show pictures of our pets, etc., etc.
Bet life.
It's a
you know,
wholesome
the
good time.
usual.
Feet Life's
Yeah.
on there too. You can put all your feet pics. Not really though. That'd be weird.
People have feet pics on our shit. It's
It's
usually
like-
because they're taking a photo down at a DVD case and they're feet in
Exactly.
the background. But Lord knows, people have made some hay out of those feet.
Blame it on the blues, boys. That's what I do.
I always do.
Always. All right, check out Beetlejuice. And until next week, as always, everybody please keep chilling.
Satan will be coming out of hell with his giblets attached.